Admiral Tae-ho Kim stood in the long hallway outside the Galactic Council chambers. His simple gray uniform looked plain next to the bright colors and strange shapes of alien clothing around him. Other beings whispered as they passed him. Some pointed at his worn boots and old-fashioned belt. They thought humans were poor and backward. Tae-ho wanted them to keep thinking that way. The massive doors opened with a deep sound. Inside, the council chamber was huge. Hundreds of different alien species sat in floating chairs that moved around a central platform. The air smelled like metal and something sweet that made Tae-ho's nose itch. Blue light came from the ceiling, making everything look cold. "The human representative may approach," said a voice that came from everywhere at once. Tae-ho walked to the center platform. His footsteps echoed in the quiet room. He could feel thousands of eyes watching him. Some aliens made clicking sounds with their mouths. Others moved their tentacles in ways that meant they were laughing. Counselor Vexler floated down from his high seat. He was tall and thin with purple skin that seemed to glow. His forearms moved like he was conducting music as he spoke. "Greetings, primitive human. We hope your long journey was not too difficult for your simple ships. Thank you for having us," Tae-ho said. He kept his voice flat and boring. "Earth is happy to meet with the Great Galactic Council." More clicking sounds came from the audience. Vexler's mouth curved in what might have been a smile. "Yes, well, we have important matters to discuss. The galaxy faces a new threat. Ships from outside our galaxy are coming. We call them the Devourers because they destroy everything they find." Tae-ho nodded like he was hearing this for the first time. He already knew about the Devourers. Human scouts had been watching them for months. But he stayed quiet and tried to look worried. "All species must help fight this threat," Vexler continued. "Even primitive ones like yours. We need your people to serve in our armies. We need your ships to carry supplies. We need your worlds to grow food for real soldiers. What kind of help do you need from Earth?" Tae-ho asked. "Everything you have," said another counselor. This one looked like a giant insect with silver wings. "Your weapons, your ships, your young people to fight. Primitive species like humans are good for simple jobs." Tae-ho felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his face calm. These aliens thought humans were just smart animals. They had been thinking this for 50 years. Every human diplomat who came here acted weak and stupid. "It was all planned. I will need to ask my leaders," Tae-ho said. "Humans are not warriors like your great species." "Of course you are not," Vexler laughed. "But even primitive beings can carry weapons and die for the galaxy? That is all we need from you." A new voice spoke from the crowd. "Admiral Kim, may I ask about Earth's defensive capabilities?" Tae-ho turned to see Dr. Bo-Ram Lee walking toward the platform. She wore the same simple gray uniform as Tae-ho. Her black hair was pulled back in a plain style. She looked like a boring human scientist. The aliens barely looked at her. "Dr. Lee," Tae-ho said, pretending to be surprised. "I did not expect to see you here. I came to help explain Earth's situation," Bo-Ram said. She pulled out a small device that looked old and simple. "I have some basic information about our defenses." The aliens waited. Most of them looked bored. A few were talking to each other about other things. "Earth has a small defense force," Bo-Ram said in a quiet voice. "We have about 50,000 ships protecting our system and nearby colonies." The room went completely silent. Vexler's forearms stopped moving. His purple face turned a darker color. "Did you say 50,000? Ships?" "Yes," Bo-Ram said, looking confused. "Is that not enough?" "We know it is very small compared to great civilizations like yours." A counselor with blue fur and 6 legs stood up quickly. 50,000 ships is more than most advanced species have. The Krillian Empire has 30,000 ships total." "Oh," Bo-Ram said, still acting confused. "We thought that was a small number. We only count our big ships in that number. We have many more small ones for local defense." More aliens started talking at once. Their voices mixed together in a loud buzz. Some were angry, some sounded scared. Vexter raised his hands for quiet. Human, he said to Ba'oram, what do you mean by big ships? Ba'oram looked at her device. Ships that can travel between star systems and fight in space battles. They range from destroyers to dreadnoughts. Each one carries between 100 and 5,000 crew members. The buzzing got louder. An alien that looked like a walking tree spoke in a deep voice that shook the floor. Most primitive species have maybe 100 ships total. You claim to have 50,000 battle-ready vessels? We are a peaceful species, Tejo said quickly. We only built so many ships because space is dangerous. Pirates and wild animals attack our colonies sometimes. Pirates do not attack in fleets of thousands, Vexter said. His voice was cold now. What else are you hiding from the galaxy? Tejo and Ba'oram looked at each other. They had practiced this moment many times. Ba'oram pressed a button on her device. A hologram appeared in the air above the platform. It showed a star map with thousands of blue dots. These are human settlements, Ba'oram said. We have colonies on 847 worlds across the galaxy. Each one has its own defense force. The chamber erupted in chaos. Aliens were shouting and flying around in their floating chairs. Some were making emergency calls on their communication devices. Others were demanding to know how humans had spread. So far without anyone noticing, Vexter floated closer to Tejo. His purple skin was now almost black with anger. You have been lying to us for decades. The Galactic Council classified humans as a primitive species. You acted weak and stupid. You begged for protection and trade deals. We are still primitive compared to transcendent beings like yourself, Tejo said calmly. We simply grew larger. Than expected? Grew larger? Screamed the insect counselor. You have more colonies than the hegemony of worlds. You have more ships than 3 advanced civilizations combined. This is not growth, this is deception. Ambassador Sujin Park stepped onto the platform. She had been waiting in the audience, pretending to be a minor aide. Now she moved with the confidence of someone used to command. Counselor Vexter, she said, humanity never lied about our capabilities. We simply never told you the complete truth. You never asked the right questions. We asked about your military strength, Vexter shouted. You asked about our fleet defending Earth? Sujin replied. We told you we had 12 ships protecting our homeworld. That was true. We never mentioned our other worlds because you never asked about them. The blue-furred alien spoke again. Why did you hide your true strength? What are you planning? Tejo stepped forward. For the first time since entering the chamber, he stood up straight. His shoulders went back and his chin lifted. Suddenly, he did not look like a weak human anymore. He looked like what he really was, a military commander who had fought in 100 battles. We hid our strength because we learned from history, he said. Every species that showed too much power too quickly ended up destroyed by forces they could not understand. We chose to grow quietly and carefully. And now? Vexter asked. Now the devourers are coming, Tejo said. Now is it time for humanity to stop pretending to be weak. The galaxy needs defenders, not tribute collectors. We will fight these invaders, but we will do it our way. The chamber fell silent again. For the first time in galactic history, a primitive species had told the advanced civilizations that they would not bow down. The aliens did not know what to think. Te-Ho turned and walked toward the exit. Ba'oram and Sujin followed him. At the door, he stopped and looked back at the shocked faces staring at him. The age of human deception is over, he said. The age of human protection has begun. Captain Minho Choi stood on the bridge of the dreadnought Indomitable. Through the massive viewing window, he could see dozens of alien ships approaching. They came from every corner of the galaxy. The Galactic Council had demanded proof of human strength. Now they would get it. Captain, said his communications officer, we have messages from 43 different species. They all want to see our primitive technology. Minho smiled. The aliens thought they were coming to expose human lies. Instead, they were about to learn the truth about Earth's children. Tell them they are welcome to observe, but warn them to keep their distance. The first alien ship to arrive was a Krillian battlecruiser. It was 3 times longer than the Indomitable and covered in weapons that glowed with purple energy. Captain Zethkar had sent a message claiming that no primitive ship could match Krillian military power. "Sir," said Engineer Hae-Won-Young from her station, "the Krillian ship is powering up its main guns." "They want to test our defenses. Let them try," Minho said. "Activate the new shielding system." Hae-Won pressed several buttons on her control panel. Around the Indomitable, the space itself began to bend and twist. Light from distant stars curved in impossible directions. The ship seemed to fade in and out of reality. The Krillian battlecruiser fired. Purple energy beams shot toward the human ship, but instead of hitting solid metal, the beams passed right through empty space. The Indomitable was still there, but the attacks could not touch it. "What is happening?" came Captain Zethkar's voice over the radio. He sounded confused and angry. "Your ship is still visible, but our weapons cannot hit it. We exist in folded space," Minho explained calmly. "Your weapons are hitting the space where we appear to be. But we are actually in a different location that overlaps with this one." More alien ships arrived. They formed a wide circle around the human vessel. Minho counted ships from 18 different species. Some he recognized from old battles. Others were new to him. "Captain Choi," came a new voice. "This is Admiral Vorth of the Hegemony Fleet. We demand you explain this technology. How can a primitive species manipulate space-time?" "We learn from our mistakes," Minho replied. "And from studying the ruins of species that came before us." A ship shaped like a giant crystal moved closer. Inside it, beings made of pure energy buzzed with excitement. They were called the Illuminated, and they thought they were the smartest species in the galaxy. "Human vessel," they said in voices that sounded like singing, "your technology does not follow known scientific principles. Space-time manipulation requires transcendent-level understanding of reality itself." Engineer Hae-Won laughed. "We do not manipulate space-time the way you do. We learned a different method from the architect ruins we found." The crystal ship pulsed with bright light. "Impossible. The architects vanished millions of years ago. Their technology is beyond current understanding." "Beyond your understanding," Hae-Won corrected. "We spent 300 years studying their remains. We also studied the ruins of 11 other transcendent species. Each one taught us something different." On the bridge, Lieutenant Woo Jin Kim looked up from his sensor station. "Captain, I am detecting weapons charging on multiple alien vessels. I think they want to test our defenses more seriously." Minho nodded. "Very well. Hae-Won, show them what our hybrid systems can do." The engineer's fingers danced over her controls. The Indomitable began to change. Its hull shifted and flowed like liquid metal. Weapons appeared where there had been smooth surfaces. The ship grew larger as hidden sections extended outward. "Our ships are not just machines," Minho announced to the watching aliens. "They are part machine, part living organism, part quantum computer. They think and adapt faster than any artificial intelligence." A massive ship shaped like a sword moved into attack position. It belonged to the Razor Alliance, a group of warrior species that love to fight. "Human ship, we challenge you to combat. Let us see if your tricks work against real weapons." "Challenge accepted," Minho said. "But I warn you, our ship will defend itself." The sword ship fired every weapon it had. Beams of energy, missiles that could destroy cities, and gravity bombs that crushed matter into nothing. The attack was enough to destroy a small moon. The Indomitable did not dodge. Instead, it absorbed every attack. The living parts of its hull ate the energy and grew stronger. The quantum computers calculated the exact properties of each weapon and created perfect counters. In seconds, the ship had learned everything about Razor Alliance technology. "Now," Minho said quietly, "show them what we learned." The Indomitable fired a single beam of white light. It hit the sword ship and passed right through its shields like they were not there. But instead of destroying the alien vessel, The beam simply turned off all its weapons and engines. The great warship became as harmless as a floating rock. How? Did you penetrate our shields? Demanded the Razor Alliance captain. We did not penetrate them, Hay-One explained. We convinced them that our weapon was not a threat. Your shields use artificial intelligence to decide what to block. Our quantum computers spoke to your AI in its own language and made it step aside. The alien fleet buzzed with excited chatter. Ship after ship moved forward to test the human vessel. Each time, the Indomitable showed them something new and impossible. A Mantis collective hive ship tried to overwhelm it with 1,000,000 small attack drones. The human ship released its own drones that moved like living creatures. They danced through the alien swarm, not destroying but converting. In minutes, the Mantis drones were working for the humans instead. A Voidwalker phase ship tried to attack from another dimension. The Indomitable simply followed it into that dimension and politely asked it to stop. The phase ship's crew was so surprised that they surrendered immediately. The crystal beings of the Illuminated tried to hack the human ship's computer systems. But the Indomitable's quantum biological brain was too complex for them to understand. It was like trying to hack a living person's thoughts. This is impossible, Admiral Vorth said over the radio. His voice shook with fear and amazement. Your technology does not follow any known rules. How can one ship defeat our entire combined fleet? We are not defeating you, Minho said. We are showing you that fighting is not always the best solution. Our ship could have destroyed all of yours in the first minute. Instead, we chose to disable your weapons and prove our point peacefully. General Young-Sik Nam's voice came over the ship's internal communication system. Captain Choi, we have more visitors approaching. Long-range sensors show a fleet of 200 alien ships heading our way. Acknowledged, General, Minho replied. Are they hostile? Unknown. But they are not from any species we have seen. Before, through the viewing window, Minho saw new ships appearing. These were sleek and black, with designs that hurt to look at directly. They moved in perfect formation like a school of fish or a flock of birds. Human vessel, came a new voice, cold and mechanical. We are the Convergence. We have heard claims that your species possesses advanced technology. This seems unlikely. Prepare to be examined. The black ships began to surround the Indomitable. Energy readings spiked as they charged weapons that operated on principles Minho had never seen before. Captain, Hay-One said, these ships are using technology beyond anything in our databases. Their power signatures suggest they are truly transcendent level. Minho felt a moment of doubt. Had humanity finally met something beyond their ability to handle? Then he remembered all the species that had thought the same thing before challenging human ingenuity. All hands, prepare for transcendent-level contact, he announced. Engineering, prepare to show our guests why humans are not as primitive as we appear. Dr. Yoonji Yu's voice came from the science station. Captain, I am reading energy patterns similar to those we found in the Architect ruins, but these are much more advanced. I think we are about to meet a species that knew the Architects personally. The Convergence ships opened fire. Their weapons tore holes in space itself, creating voids that consumed everything they touched. The attacks were beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen, but the Indomitable was ready. Its hybrid systems activated technologies that humanity had kept secret for centuries. The ship did not just fold space around itself. It folded reality. To the watching aliens, the human dreadnought seemed to split into 1,000 copies of itself. Each copy moved independently, firing different weapons and using different defenses. The Convergence found themselves fighting not one ship, but an entire fleet that existed in the same place at the same time. Impossible, the mechanical voice said. Reality cannot be divided in this manner. What are you? We are human, Minho said simply. We learn from everyone who tries to teach us lessons, including species that think they are gods. The battle lasted only minutes. When it was over, the Convergence ships floated dead in space, their crews unconscious but alive. The Indomitable had not destroyed them. It had simply convinced their technology to take a nap, The alien observers were completely silent. They had just watched a primitive human ship defeat technology that was beyond their understanding. Admiral Vorth, Minho said, you asked for proof of human capabilities. Consider this a small demonstration. Our real fleet is somewhat larger than one ship. How much larger? Vorth whispered. Historian Insu Beek walked through the deep archives beneath Earth's surface. The corridors here were older than most alien civilizations. They held secrets that humanity had kept hidden for 3 centuries. Today, those secrets would finally be revealed. Above ground. Representatives from 50 alien species waited in the Grand Assembly Hall. They had come to learn the truth about human history. After seeing what human technology could do, they needed to understand how a primitive species had become so powerful. Dr. Beek, said Director Kyung-Mi Han as she joined him in the archive corridor, are you ready to tell them everything? Insu stopped walking and looked at the massive vault door ahead of them. Behind that door lay the real history of humanity's rise to power. It was a story of patience, sacrifice, and careful planning that spanned centuries. They will not like what they hear, he said quietly. The truth will make them question everything they believe about the galaxy. Good, Kyung-Mi replied. It is time for the galaxy to grow up. They entered the vault together. Inside, holographic displays showed star maps, alien artifacts, and documents written in dozens of different languages. This was the heart of the Long-Term Strategic Deception Initiative. Humanity's greatest secret project at Densu picked up a datapad that contained the complete historical records. The first entry was dated 312 years ago, when human explorers found something that changed everything. Computer, begin historical presentation, he said. The vault's walls came alive with images. The first showed a young human woman standing in the ruins of an alien city. Her name was Captain Lejin Ko, and she was about to make the most important discovery in human history. This is where it all began, Insu explained to Kyung-Mi, even though she knew the story by heart. The Kepler 442 system. Captain Ko and her exploration team found the remains of a civilization that called itself the Architects. The images showed massive structures that seemed to be built from crystallized thought. Technology that worked by manipulating the basic forces of reality. Weapons that could destroy stars with a single shot. It was the most advanced civilization humanity had ever encountered. The Architects were truly transcendent, Insu continued. They had mastered space, time, matter, and energy. They could create life and destroy it with equal ease. By all rights, they should have been the eternal rulers of the galaxy. But they were dead, Kyung-Mi said softly, all of them. Every last member of their species had been wiped out. Their cities were ruins, their great ships were floating graveyards. Something had hunted them down and killed them all. The images changed to show Captain KO's exploration of the Architect ruins. She found libraries full of information about the galaxy's history. What she learned there terrified her. The Architects were not the first transcendent species to vanish. Insu explained. Ko found records of 12 other civilizations that had reached the same level of advancement. All of them had been destroyed by something the Architects called the Cleaners. The wall displays showed ancient star maps. Entire regions of space were marked in red, indicating dead zones where transcendent civilizations had once thrived. The pattern was clear and terrifying. Every time a species became too advanced, the Cleaners would appear, Insu said. They would study the transcendent civilization for a few decades. Then they would destroy it completely, no survivors. Number. Ruins, just empty space where great empires once existed. Kyung-Mi activated another display. This one showed the Architects' final message, discovered deep in their most secure archive. The translation had taken human linguists 50 years to complete. Warning to future civilizations, the message read. We are the 13th transcendent. Species to face extinction, the pattern is always the same. Rapid advancement draws their attention. They cannot be fought, they cannot be reasoned with. They exist only to prevent other species from reaching true transcendence. Hide your strength, grow slowly, Learn from our mistakes. And Sue paused the presentation. Captain KO brought this information back to Earth. The human government faced a terrible choice. We could continue developing openly and eventually face the cleaners ourselves, or we could learn from the architect's warning. So we chose deception, Kyungmi said. Admiral Dongwook Shin created the deception doctrine, Insu confirmed. Humanity would appear primitive while secretly growing strong. We would spread across the galaxy slowly and carefully. We would build our technology in hidden places where the cleaners could not find us. The images showed the early years of the Great Deception. Human diplomats learned to act stupid and weak. Human ships were built to look primitive from the outside, while hiding advanced technology within. Human colonies were established in remote systems that other species ignored. We studied every dead transcendent civilization we could find, Insu continued. Each one taught us something new. The Void Walkers showed us how to fold space. The Dream Shapers taught us biological computing. The Star Builders revealed the secrets of quantum manipulation. And we combined all of their knowledge, Kyungmi added. No single species had ever tried to integrate the technologies of multiple transcendent civilizations before. The presentation showed human research stations hidden in dark space between the stars. For centuries, the greatest minds of humanity had worked in secret, combining alien technologies in ways their creators had never imagined. We learned that the cleaners had a weakness, Insu explained. They only hunted species that openly displayed transcendent power. Civilizations that kept their true capabilities hidden could survive indefinitely. The images changed to show the galaxy's current transcendent species. The crystal beings called the Illuminated. The energy creatures of the Bright Collective. The machine intelligence known as the Prime Algorithm. These species survived because they learned the same lesson we did, Insu said. They are not truly transcendent. They are very advanced species pretending to be transcendent while hiding their real capabilities. Just like we pretended to be primitive, Kyungmi observed. Exactly. The galaxy is full of species playing roles. The transcendent ones act godlike while secretly fearing discovery. The advanced ones compete for territory and resources. The primitive ones, like humanity, were ignored and left alone. Insu activated the final part of the presentation. This showed recent human achievements that no alien species knew about. Cities built inside artificial dimensions. Ships that could travel to parallel universes. Weapons that could rewrite the laws of physics in localized areas. While the galaxy played its games of politics and war, humanity grew beyond all of them, he said. We did not just match the power of the ancient transcendent species, we surpassed them. Because we learned from all of them, Kyungmi said. Each dead civilization taught us something different. We became the sum of their knowledge plus our own innovations. The presentation ended with images of the approaching Devourer fleet. These ships came from outside the galaxy, following the same patterns that the cleaners had used millions of years ago. And now? Insu asked. Now the cleaners have returned, Kyungmi replied. They call themselves Devourers, but the pattern is the same. They will study the galaxy's most advanced species. Then they will destroy everything that threatens their vision of cosmic order. Insu closed the datapad and looked at Director. Han, the aliens upstairs think the Devourers are just another invasion force. They do not understand what is really coming. Then we must teach them, Kyungmi said. It is time for the galaxy to learn about the cleaners. It is time for everyone to understand what humanity has been preparing for. They left the vault and took the elevator to the surface. In the Grand Assembly Hall, representatives from dozens of species waited impatiently. They had been asking questions about human history for hours. Insu walked to the center of the hall. Around him, aliens of every shape and size leaned forward to hear his words. Some looked curious, others seemed angry or afraid. You want to know how humanity became so powerful, he began. The answer is simple. We learned from the mistakes of everyone who came before us. He activated a holographic projector. The image of Captain the Jin Ko appeared above the crowd, standing in the architect ruins that had changed human destiny. 300 years ago, we discovered that the galaxy was not what it seemed, Insu said. We learned that transcendent species do not rule the universe. They are hunted by something far more powerful. The alien representatives began to murmur among themselves. Some called out questions, but Insu held up his hand for silence. The beings you call devourers are not invaders, he continued. They are exterminators. They have been cleansing the galaxy of advanced civilizations for millions of years. Every species that grows too powerful draws their attention. A Krillian diplomat stood up. You are saying the devourers have attacked before? 13 times that we know of, Insu replied. Each time they destroyed entire transcendent civilizations. The architects, the voidwalkers, the dream shapers, and 10 others, all extinct. The hall erupted in chaos as aliens realized what this meant. If transcendent species could be destroyed, then no one in the galaxy was truly safe. But humanity survived by hiding, Insu said, his voice cutting through the noise. We grew strong in secret while pretending to be weak. We learned from never let. Fleet Admiral Sang-Ho Lee stood in the command center of humanity's greatest military installation. Around him, holographic displays showed the approaching Devourer fleet. The enemy ships moved through space like a dark plague, consuming everything in their path. Admiral, said Captain Hyojin Park, long-range sensors confirmed the enemy fleet size. We count over 10 million vessels approaching from the galactic rim. Sang-Ho nodded grimly. The Devourers had brought a force large enough to sterilize entire star systems. Traditional galactic fleets had already tried to stop them. The results had been complete disasters. What happened to the Krillian defense fleet? He asked Tactical. Officer Woo Jin Kim looked up from his station. Destroyed in 4 minutes, sir. 3,000 ships reduced to atoms. The Devourers used weapons that turned matter into energy and energy into nothing. The holographic display showed recordings from the battle. Krillian ships had opened fire with their most powerful weapons. The energy beams struck Devourer vessels and simply vanished, absorbed by hulls that seemed to eat light itself. Then the Devourers had responded. Beams of darkness shot from their ships, touching Krillian vessels and making them disappear. Not explode, not break apart, just cease to exist entirely. The Mantis Collective tried next, Wujin continued. They sent 50,000 drone ships. In a coordinated swarm attack, result was the same. The Devourers created some kind of field that made all the drones forget how to exist. Dr. Mi Young SCO looked up from the science station. Admiral, I have completed my analysis of the Devourer technology. It operates on principles that should be impossible according to known physics. Explain, Sang-Ho said. They are not just using advanced technology, Mi Young replied. They are rewriting the basic rules of reality in localized areas. Their weapons convince matter that it was never real in the first place. Sang-Ho studied the tactical displays. Every simulation showed the same result. Traditional military strategies would fail against an enemy that could make the laws of physics optional. Time until they reach human space? He asked. 6 days. Admiral, Hyojin replied. They are moving faster than light without using any technology we can detect. They simply decide to be somewhere else and arrive there. A new voice spoke from the communication system. Admiral Lee, this is General. Young Sik Nam, I have updates from the front lines. Go ahead, General. The Illuminated tried to stop the Devourers using their transcendent technology. They created a barrier of pure energy across 3 star systems. The Devourers walked through it like it was not there. Sang-Ho felt a chill run down his spine. The Illuminated were considered the most advanced species in the galaxy. If their transcendent technology was useless, what hope did anyone have? Sir, said Wujin, we are receiving emergency transmissions from the Galactic Council. They are begging us to help defend their worlds. What are they offering in return? Sang-Ho asked. Complete surrender of authority to human command. They want us to take control of all galactic defense forces. Sang-ho almost smiled. A week ago, these same aliens had called humans primitive and demanded tribute. Now they were offering to become human subjects in exchange for protection. Tell them. We accept their surrender, he said. But explain that we are not fighting this war to become galactic rulers. We are fighting to survive. Dr. Myung activated a new holographic display. This one showed the technical specifications of human weapons that had never been used in battle before. Admiral, our quantum reality weapons are ready for deployment, she said. We have tested them against simulated devourer technology. The results are promising. Define promising, Sang-ho replied. Where the devourers rewrite physics. To make things stop existing, we rewrite physics to make things exist more intensely. Our weapons do not destroy matter. They convince reality that our matter is more real than theirs. Hyo-jin looked confused. How can something be more real than something else? Reality is not binary, Mi-young explained. It operates on levels of probability and certainty. The devourers reduce the probability that their targets exist. We increase the probability that our weapons exist. When more real meets less real, more real wins. The command center fell silent as everyone tried to understand this concept. They were about to fight a war using weapons that most of them could not comprehend. Contact the fleet commanders, Sang-ho ordered. Begin deployment of Battle Group Alpha, 200 ships initially. If our new weapons work, we will send more. Sir, Woo-jin said, 200 ships against 10 million seems like poor odds. Not if our ships are more real than theirs? Sang-ho replied. Captain Hyo-jin Park left the command center to join her squadron. She was the pilot of humanity's most advanced fighter craft, a ship that existed in 7 dimensions simultaneously. Her mission was to test human weapons against devourer technology. The human fleet moved through space using methods that would have amazed the galaxy's scientists. Instead of traveling from point A to point B, the ships convinced the universe that point B was actually the same location as point A. They arrived at their destination instantly without technically moving at all. Contact with enemy fleet in 30 seconds. Hyo-jin announced over the fleet communication network. Through her cockpit window, she could see the devourer ships approaching. They were beautiful in a terrifying way. Black hulls that seemed to absorb light, creating holes in space where they passed. Energy patterns that hurt to look at directly. All ships, this is Admiral Lee, came Sang-ho's voice over the radio. You are about to test weapons that humanity has never used in actual combat. Remember that you are fighting not just for our species, but for the concept of existence itself. The devourer fleet opened fire first. Beams of non-existent shot toward the human ships. Where the beams touched space, reality became thin and unstable, but the human ships were protected by shields that made them super real. The devourer weapons struck barriers of intensified existence and scattered harmlessly. Impossible, came a voice from the devourer fleet. It sounded like the concept of coldness given a voice. Your matter signature exceeds baseline reality. Parameters, this should not be possible. We learn from the architects, Hyo-jin replied as she activated her ship's main weapon. They taught us that reality is negotiable. Her fighter fired a beam of crystallized probability. It struck a devourer ship and convinced the universe that the enemy vessel had never been built. The ship did not explode or break apart. It simply became an idea that nobody had ever thought of across the battle zone. Human ships began engaging devourer vessels with weapons that rewrote local physics. Where devourer technology made things less real, human technology made things more real. The two approaches created reality storms that twisted space and time. Admiral, Woo-jin reported from the command center, we are winning. Devourer ships are being neutralized faster than they can respond? But Sang-ho was watching the larger tactical picture. They are learning from our attacks. Look at their response patterns. The devourer fleet began to adapt. Their ships started generating fields that made reality more stable, protecting them from human probability weapons. The battle became a contest between two species trying to control the basic nature of existence. Sir, Mi Young said, the Devourers are not just using advanced technology. They are a species that has evolved beyond normal physical existence. They exist partially outside reality, which is why our probability weapons are only partially effective. Then we need to bring them fully into reality, Sang-Ho decided. Contact Captain Park. Tell her to activate the anchor protocol. Hyo-Jin received the order and felt her stomach clench with fear. The anchor protocol was humanity's most dangerous weapon. It would force the Devourers to exist completely within normal reality, making them vulnerable to conventional attacks. But it would also destabilize space-time across several star systems. All ships retreat to minimum safe distance, she announced, activating reality anchor in 10 seconds. Her fighter released a device that looked like a small metal sphere. As it floated toward the Devourer fleet, the sphere began to emit waves of concentrated existence. Reality became thick and heavy around the enemy ships. The Devourers found themselves pulled fully into the physical universe for the first time in millions of years. Suddenly, they were bound by the same laws of physics that governed every other species. Now, Sang-Ho ordered, show them what human conventional weapons can do. The human fleet opened fire with weapons that operated on familiar principles. Energy beams, missiles, and particle cannons struck Devourer ships that could no longer phase out of reality. The ancient exterminators discovered what it felt like to be mortal. This is impossible, the cold voice said again. We are beyond physical destruction. We are the cleaners. We are eternal. You were eternal, Hyo-Jin replied. Now you're just very old aliens with impressive technology. Welcome to reality. The battle raged for hours. Devourer ships that had seemed invincible began to explode and break apart like any other vessel. Their crews, pulled fully into physical existence, could be killed by weapons that had been obsolete for centuries, but the enemy fleet was still massive. For every Devourer ship destroyed, 50 more took its place. The human force of 200 ships was severely outnumbered. Admiral, Wu-Jin reported, we are in Flickton. President Na-Yun Choi stood before the largest gathering in galactic history. Representatives from 300 species filled the massive assembly hall on Unity Station. They had come to witness the birth of a new galactic order. Citizens of the galaxy, she began, her voice carrying to billions of worlds through quantum communication networks. The Devourer War is over. Humanity has fulfilled its promise to protect all intelligent life. The alien representatives erupted in cheers and sounds that served as applause in their various cultures. Some wept with relief. Others performed ritual dances of gratitude. A few species that had never shown emotion before were trembling with joy. Admiral Jinwoo Park stepped forward to give the military report. The Devourer fleet has been completely neutralized. 10 million enemy vessels were either destroyed or captured. Their surviving crews are being held in secure facilities where they can no longer threaten anyone. A Krillian delegate raised one of his 4 arms. Admiral Park, how many human ships did we lose in the final battle? 47 vessels sustained significant damage, Jinwoo replied. We lost 1,200 crew members. All other ships returned safely to their bases. The hall fell silent. The alien representatives could barely believe what they were hearing. A human fleet of 2 million ships had defeated 10 million Devourers while suffering almost no losses. How is this possible? Asked a crystal being from the Illuminated Collective. The Devourers destroyed our transcendent technology like it was nothing, yet humans defeated them easily. President Na-Yun smiled. We did not defeat them easily. We defeated them completely. There is a difference. Ambassador So-Young Lee activated a holographic display that showed the final battle. The images were stunning and terrifying. Human ships moved through space like living creatures, adapting to every Devourer tactic in real time. The Devourers were perfect hunters, So-Young explained. They had spent millions of years destroying transcendent civilizations. They knew how to counter every advanced technology in the galaxy. But they had never faced adaptive integration. technology, President Na continued. While they were fighting our quantum reality weapons, our ships were learning how their technology worked. By the end of the battle, we understood their systems better than they did. The holographic display showed the moment when human ships began using modified devourer weapons against their creators. The ancient exterminators found themselves facing their own technology, improved and enhanced by human innovation. The key was not being stronger than them, So Young said. The key was being more flexible. Every time they adapted to our attacks, we had already adapted to their adaptation. General Sungwon Moon stepped onto the platform. He commanded the integrated forces that now protected the galaxy. His uniform bore insignia from 50 different species. The war taught us something important, he announced. No single species can survive alone in this universe. The Devourers were powerful because they worked as one unified force. We defeated them by working together as an even more unified force. A representative from the Mantis Collective clicked his mandibles in confusion. But humans did most of the fighting. How were we unified? Because you trusted us to lead, Na-Yun replied. When the crisis came, you put aside your pride and fear. You let humanity coordinate the defense of your worlds. That trust made us stronger than any weapon. The holographic display changed to show the new defensive networks being built across the galaxy. Human technology was being shared with allied species, creating a web of protection that covered every inhabited system. The age of competing empires is over, General Sungwon announced. We now have one galaxy with many different peoples working toward the same goal, the protection and advancement of all intelligent life. An insect-like being from the Hive Confederation stood up. What does this mean for species sovereignty? Will humans rule over us? Humans do not want to rule anyone, Na-Yun said firmly. We want to protect everyone. There is a difference between leadership and domination. Ambassador So Young activated another display. This one showed the new Galactic Cooperative Council structure. Every species had representatives, but decisions were made by consensus rather than force. Each species keeps control of their own worlds and cultures, she explained. But we share technology, resources, and military forces for mutual protection. Think of it as a family rather than an empire. A delegate from the Voidwalker remnants spoke in a whisper that somehow filled the entire hall. What about species that do not wish to join this cooperative? What about those who prefer isolation? They are free to choose isolation, Na-Yun replied. But they will still be protected. The new defense grid covers the entire galaxy, not just cooperative worlds. The alien representatives began talking among themselves in excited voices. They were beginning to understand that humanity was offering something that had never existed before: protection without conquest, strength without oppression. President Choi, called out a hegemony representative, what about the Devourer survivors? What will happen to them? Na-Yun's expression became serious. The Devourer crews are being studied by our best scientists. We are trying to understand why they became exterminators. Some of them are beginning to remember their original nature. Dr. Mi Young SCO stepped forward. She had been working with Devourer prisoners since the war ended. The beings we fought were not originally evil, she announced. They were once a peaceful species that was transformed by something even more dangerous. The hall buzzed with worried conversation. If the Devourers had been created by something else, what did that mean for galactic security? Millions of years ago, the original Devourer species encountered entities from outside our reality, Mi Young continued. These entities convinced them that transcendent civilizations were a threat to the stability of the universe itself. The entities were wrong, Na-Yun said. Transcendent species are not threats. They are the next step in evolution. The entities that corrupted the Devourers were afraid of losing their own power as younger species grew stronger. General Sowon activated a new display showing deep space monitoring stations. We are now watching for signs of these entities. If they return to our galaxy, we will be ready. A crystal being pulsed with nervous light. Are you saying there are threats beyond the Devourers? We are saying that the universe is larger and more dangerous than we thought, Na-Yun replied. But we are also saying that we are stronger and more united than ever before. Whatever comes next, we will face it together. The assembly hall erupted in discussions as representatives realized the implications. The galaxy had defeated one cosmic threat only to discover that greater challenges lay ahead. Citizens, Na-Yun called for attention. I know this news is frightening, but remember what we accomplished together. A year ago, most of you thought humans were primitive creatures barely worthy of notice. Today we stand as your protectors and allies. The transformation was not just in your understanding of us, Ambassador So Young added. It was in our understanding of ourselves. We learned that our strength comes not from our technology, but from our connections to each other. Razor Alliance warrior stood up. His people had fought humans in gladiatorial combat for entertainment. Now he spoke with deep respect. Humans could have conquered us after revealing their true power. Instead, you chose to protect us. Why? Na-Yun thought for a moment before answering. Because conquest is easy, protection is hard. Any species with sufficient weapons can conquer others. But building something that protects everyone while oppressing no one? That requires wisdom, patience, and trust. It also requires sacrifice, General Sungwon added. Human colonies were attacked during the war. Human civilians died protecting alien worlds. We paid the price of leadership in blood. The alien representatives fell silent as they considered this. Many of their species had assumed that humans had some selfish motive for their actions. The idea that humans had sacrificed for others without expecting anything in return was difficult to understand. What do you want from us? Asked a Krillian delegate. We want you to be yourselves, Na-Yun replied. Keep your cultures, your traditions, your ways of thinking, but share your knowledge with us. Learn from us as we learn from you. Help us build something better than what existed before. A mantis queen buzzed thoughtfully. And if another threat comes? Another enemy like the Devourers? Then we face it as one people with many faces, Na-Yun said. The galaxy has learned to work together. That unity is our greatest weapon against any enemy. Admiral Jinwoo stepped forward for the final announcement. The human defense fleet is being restructured as the Galactic Protection Force. Command positions will be filled by officers from all cooperative species. We will train together, fight together, and if necessary, die together. The assembly hall erupted in the loudest celebration in galactic history. Representatives from species that had been enemies for centuries embraced each other. The galaxy had found something worth fighting for. Each other. President Na-Yun raised her hand for final silence. The age of human deception is over. The age of human domination will never begin. Today starts the age of galactic cooperation. May it last forever. As the representatives dispersed to carry the news to their homeworlds, Na-Yun stood. Grand Admiral Jae-Sung Kim stood at the edge of known space, watching construction crews build the most ambitious project in galactic history. The infinite barrier stretched across the entire rim of the galaxy, a network of defense platforms that would protect all life from whatever lurked in the darkness beyond. Admiral, said Dr. Hee-Jin Yoon as she approached with her latest research data, we have completed our analysis of the entities that corrupted the Devourers. The results are disturbing. Jae-Sung turned from the viewing window to look at the scientist. Dr. Yoon had spent 2 years studying the cosmic forces that had turned a peaceful species into galactic exterminators. Her discoveries had changed humanity's understanding of the universe itself. Show me, he said. Dr. Yoon activated a holographic projector. The image that appeared made Jae-Sung's skin crawl. It showed beings that existed partially outside normal reality, creatures of pure thought and malevolent intent. We call them the Whisperers, she explained. They exist in the spaces between dimensions, feeding on the collapse of advanced civilizations. They cannot create or build anything themselves. They can only corrupt and destroy. The hologram showed how the Whisperers had approached the original Devourer species millions of years ago. They had posed as wise teachers, offering knowledge and power. But their true goal was to turn the Devourers into weapons against other transcendent species. Every time a civilization reaches transcendent level, the Whisperers notice, Dr. Yoon continued. They either corrupt the species directly or send their Devourer servants to destroy them. Either way, the galaxy becomes a little less advanced, a little less dangerous to their plans. What are their plans? Jae-sung asked. To prevent any species from becoming powerful enough to threaten them, she replied. They want to keep the galaxy at a manageable level of development. Advanced enough to be interesting, but not advanced. Enough to resist their influence. A new voice spoke from the communication system. Admiral Kim, this is Chancellor Min-Young Lee calling from the Galactic Council chambers. Go ahead, Chancellor. We have received reports from our deep space. Scouts, something is moving in the void between galaxies. We think the Whisperers themselves are coming. Jae-sung felt his blood run cold. The Devourers had been bad enough, but they were just corrupted servants. The idea of facing the entities that had created them was terrifying. How much time do we have? He asked. Unknown. Our scouts report massive distortions in space-time moving in our direction. Whatever is coming, it is larger and more powerful than anything we have ever encountered. Dr. Yoon manipulated her holographic display to show the galaxy's current defenses. The infinite barrier was nearly complete, but it had been designed to stop conventional invasions. Against beings that existed outside normal reality, it might be useless. Admiral, she said, we need to accelerate the Transcendence Project. It may be our only hope. Jae-sung nodded grimly. The Transcendence Project was humanity's most secret initiative. Based on knowledge gathered from 13 extinct civilizations, it was designed to advance the entire galaxy to a new level of existence. Contact Explorer Captain Tae-young-hong, he ordered. Tell her to begin the final phase. Captain Tae-young-hong received the order while leading an expedition to the galactic core. Her ship, the Pathfinder, was equipped with technology that allowed it to survive in the most dangerous regions of space. She had spent months searching for the key to galactic transcendence. Captain, said her science officer, we are detecting the energy signature you have been looking for. The architect's final gift is directly ahead. Through the Pathfinder's reinforced viewing window, Tae-young could see something that defied description. It looked like a star made of crystallized time, pulsing with light that existed in dimensions her eyes could not perceive. The Transcendence Engine, she whispered. The architects built it as their final act before the Devourers destroyed them. They wanted to give future species a chance to evolve beyond the reach of the Whisperers. The engine was massive, larger than most planets. It had been hidden at the galactic core for millions of years, waiting for a species wise enough to use it properly. The architects had left detailed instructions, but activating it would require the cooperation of every intelligent species in the galaxy. Send the signal to all worlds, Tae-young ordered. Begin the Ascension Protocol. Across the galaxy, representatives from 300 species gathered at specially prepared sites. Each location contained a fragment of architect technology that would contribute to the transcendence process. Every species would evolve together, or none would evolve at all. On Earth, President Na-yoon Choi stood in the center of humanity's Ascension Chamber. Around her, volunteers from every human colony had gathered to represent their species in the Great Transformation. Citizens of Earth, she said, today we take the final step in our species' evolution. We do not go alone. We go with our allies, our friends, and our family among the stars. Similar ceremonies were taking place on Krillian homeworlds, mantis hive planets, and illuminated crystal cities. Every species that had joined the Galactic Cooperative was participating in the Ascension. Activation in 10 seconds, announced Captain Tae-young from the Galactic Core. All species report ready, the countdown began. As it reached 0, the Transcendence engine came to life. Waves of pure evolution swept across the galaxy, touching every world and every ship. The effect was not visible to normal senses, but every intelligent being could feel reality shifting around them. On Unity Station, Chancellor Minyoung Lee watched as the transformation took hold. Alien representatives began to glow with inner light as their consciousness expanded beyond normal limits. They were becoming something new, something beyond the reach of the Whisperers. "Admiral Kim," she said over the communication network, "the ascension is working. All species are evolving simultaneously. We are becoming something the universe has never seen before." But the Whisperers had noticed the transformation. In the void between galaxies, ancient entities stirred with rage and fear. For the first time in cosmic history, their prey was escaping their control. "They come," reported Dr. Hee Jin-yoon from her research station. "The Whisperers are abandoning subtlety. They are coming directly to stop our ascension." Through her enhanced perceptions, she could see them approaching. Beings of pure malevolence that existed partially outside reality itself. They brought with them fleets of corrupted species from other galaxies, civilizations that had been turned into weapons over millions of years. "All defensive stations prepare for ultimate conflict," Grand Admiral Jae-sung announced. "This is not a battle for territory or resources. This is a battle for the right to exist as free beings." The enhanced beings that had once been separate species now worked together with perfect coordination. Human tactical brilliance combined with Krillian warrior spirit. Mantis collective thinking merged with illuminated energy manipulation. Every strength was shared, every weakness was covered. The Whisperer fleet emerged from dark space like a plague of shadows. Their ships were built from the nightmares of dead civilizations, weapons powered by the despair of extinct species. They had come to drag the galaxy back down to manageable levels of development. But they found something they had never encountered before, a truly unified galactic civilization that had transcended their ability to corrupt or control. "Fire!" ordered Grand Admiral Jae-sung. The infinite barrier came alive with weapons that rewrote the laws of physics. But these were not just human reality manipulation devices. They were powered by the combined will of 300 species working. As one mind, the battle raged across dimensions that normal beings could not perceive. Whisperer entities that had never known physical pain screamed as transcendent weapons tore through their non-corporeal forms. Their corrupted servant fleets found themselves facing enemies that could not be defeated by conventional means. "Impossible," the Whisperers spoke in voices that came from everywhere and nowhere. "You cannot transcend our influence. We are the teachers of chaos. We are the masters of entropy." "You were," replied President Na-yoon, her consciousness now expanded to encompass the thoughts of billions of beings. "But we learned from every species you destroyed. We became the sum of all their knowledge and more." The transcendent galactic civilization began to push back against the Whisperers. For the first time in cosmic history, the ancient entities found themselves on the defensive. Their own weapons and tactics were being used against them by beings they could no longer understand or control. "We offer you a choice," said Chancellor Minyoung, speaking for the entire galaxy. "Join us in transcendence or be left behind as we evolve beyond your reach." The Whisperers recoiled in horror. The idea of joining their former prey in evolution was more terrifying to them than destruction. They had spent eternity preventing other species from transcending. The concept of transcending themselves was unthinkable. "Never!" they screamed. "We will destroy this galaxy before we allow you to escape our dominion." "Then you have chosen extinction," Grand Admiral Jae-sung replied. The final phase of the battle began. The transcendent galactic civilization focused all their power into a single attack that operated on principles beyond physics. They did not destroy the Whisperers with weapons. They conveyed